Okay, so I'm going to get you to come onto your mats and we'll get going. And we'll just start standing up today. So just taking your feet so that they are wider than hip width apart and rocking from one foot to the other. And then lifting your toes, spreading your toes, and then placing your feet down with nice soft knees, making sure your behind is behind you. And then taking your interlaced hands just behind the ridge of your head, drawing the elbows back, dropping your shoulders right down, seeing if you can drop the base of the rib cage so it's not flaring up too much, but then sliding your heart center upwards as you look upwards. We're just going to take some full, deep morning breaths here, and we're trying to bring the breath right down and out underneath those armpits to get the full diaphragmatic breath, pulling the breath into those intercostal muscles, pulling the breath into the back of your lungs. Full breath, you can sigh out through your mouth. See if you can make each breath even bigger, even deeper. Keep pulling back with your elbows, dropping the base of your shoulder blades. Eye gaze slightly up, so we're creating this kind of waking up sensation through the whole central nervous system. Good, just slightly pulsing with your knees, so everything else is a bit soft, even though you're pushing quite firmly back with your head. And then taking the arms out to the side, stretch out through your fingers and let your shoulders be nice and relaxed. And then looking up through that left hand, and then breathing to look out through the other hand. And we're just going to move with the breath. See if you can now softly close your mouth and just breathe in and out of the nostrils, creating the soft Darth Vader kind of sound with your breath, that Ujjayi breath, with a little constriction on the back of the throat. So through the whole practice, imagining you have a string pulling you from the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, and also from the ridge at the back of your head, so that we create a slight constriction on the back of the throat as we draw the chin inwards, not down or up, just backwards. This is Jalandhara Bandha. And then take the hands down and draw your fingertips up as if you're pulling energy right up through your center. Take the fingertips up towards the ceiling, drop your shoulders, press down and out with your feet, and stretch your body, reaching up one hand and then the other. So we start to mobilize through the back of the body, reaching up as far as you can go, and then taking the hands down. And big circles behind you. So we create that nice lubrication through the shoulder joints. Big circles. Good. Wriggle your lower jaw as you circle. Very nice. And then taking the hands out, and we're going to do some big swishes. So stretching those fingertips out, bending the knees now. And as you swish, allow that swishing to create even deeper breathing. And sighing any breath out that feels like it just needs to go. That's it. Deep bends through the knees now. Make sure your heels have got great connection with the ground. Beautiful. And then let's turn this into the discus throwing movement. So as we inhale, we stretch, we throw the discus, and exhale, go ha. Throw the discus, ha. Noticing what's happening through the thighs now. And ha. And good. And then just coming back into the center, a little tap through the upper back. So we're getting a twist through the thoracic spine, twist through the midsection. This is going to help our digestion. Very good. And then just drop the head, circle the head, and then circle your shoulders. So we start to unwind from the top downwards, corkscrewing down towards the pelvis. And then pausing here, take the head in the other direction, and then allow those shoulders to circle. And then coming all the way down to the pelvis. Good. And then let your head be still, but let the pelvis start to circle. So we create this lovely release through the lower back. Start to mobilize through those psoas muscles. Good. And if you want to lift your heart rate, raise the heart rate, take the arms out to the sides, pull back through middle fingers. Imagine you have that orange between your shoulders. You're just holding it there. And the other direction, maybe taking it a little bit lower, drawing those fingertips back, maybe even taking the fingertips a little bit higher. Good, taking them all the way up, stretch up again. Wonderful, come down. Pause here, goddess stance, and then big breath in, and then go, and push the floor away with your heels, and waking up, starting to feel that vibrant prana, the life force, literally being pulled through your body. So we start to feed, get that lovely oxygen exchange through every cell, nourishing every cell of the body. Big, bright breaths. And then lateral stretch, up and over, lengthening all the way from the hips right up to the armpit. And then back again. Make sure that you don't collapse forward. Draw the elbow back. And then take it to your toes. Lengthen the whole side body. Wonderful morning stretch. Spine loves these lateral stretches. One more on each side. Very good. And then we'll just release the shoulders, the toes in slightly, hands just above the knees here, dropping down through the inside of the chest, and then come up, and then same thing on the other side. So we twist across the back. Exhale as you come down. Make sure your knees stay wide, so they stay over your ankles. That's it. So nice big sighs out. As we breathe in, we just do the normal Ujjayi breath in. So we create that slight kind of suction through the back of the nostrils rather than sniffing at the tip of the nostrils. That's the way. And then come back into the center, lifting the tail, lifting the heart, tucking the tail, and then rounding slightly. So we create this lift and spread through the pelvic floor muscles, and then this drawing in and up. Breathing in, breathing out. And it's kind of like you're on a swing. So imagine you're going higher and higher on this big rope swing. Maybe swinging out over a sparkling lake. Just imagine that the sun is shining through trees, dappling, sparkling on this water. And you are breathing free, swinging. And then take your tail behind you and just swing your tail from side to side. So we'll get a little bit of that wonderful compression into the hip joints. Start to wake up the back line of the body. Very good. Make it a little bit more exaggerated as we wake up those hamstrings. One side and then the other. One side and then the other. And then slowly swirl your hips to come up. And we'll come through a slow salutation. So take yourself at the top of your mat. I'm just going to turn sideways for this. And don't worry if your feet are not close or even hip width. If they're a bit wider than hip width, that's absolutely fine. Press down and out with your feet. Crown of the head is lifted. So bring yourself into Tadasana, mountain pose. Pause here for a moment. Let the chest be open. Palms slightly forward. Take the breath right down to the bottom of your lungs. Out to the sides. Feel that lifting through the ridge of your head. Soften the knees. And then it's a very slow, this morning, very slow pressing out through the back of your hands as you inhale and float the arms upwards. And then exhale slowly. Take the hands above the knees, bend the knees. And then as you inhale again, coming to tabletop, lifting those sitting bones, just waking up the hamstrings, exhaling, let the head go down for a moment. Push through the heels as you inhale. It's a reverse swan dive all the way up. And exhaling, taking the hands down through the heart center and just pausing. And on the next inhalation, same thing, pressing through the back of the hands, slowly drawing them up. Exhale, very exaggerated, pushing the hands through the air. Inhaling, coming into that tabletop, lengthening through those sitting bones. Bend the knees, let the head drop for a moment. And then push through the heels, lift the heart center. Reverse swan dive up, and then hands down through the heart center. Okay, so this time I'm going to come down. Breathing in, hands all the way up. Breathing out, hands above the knees. Breathing in, tabletop. Pause here this time. Exhale, let your head go down. Breathing in again, come back into your tabletop. Draw the base of the rib cage in, so we're working on all of our corsatory muscles. And then exhaling, taking the hands to the front of your mat, walking yourself back into downward facing dog. So first down dog, stretch out those hands, roll the shoulders out of the ears, and just pedal those heels down one at a time. And you can drop the knees across the midline of the body. So we're just waking up this sleepy body. Give your head a shake. You can breathe deeply and then sigh out fully. Very good. And when you're ready, dropping your knees to the ground, taking the right foot forward, top of the back foot into the ground. Draw yourself forward. You can take the arm up as well, and then back again. So we're just kind of float forward and draw back into our lunge, waking up those hamstrings. Good, and then this time staying forward in our lunge. Give your hips a little wriggle, drop the shoulders, and then lift the heart center. Taking a nice deep breath in here. Good. Take the left hand on the outside of the right knee. Give yourself a little twist through the upper back. So if we are comfortable in this high twist, we might even take it a bit lower, elbow on the outside of the knee and hands together. Wringing out the spine, but also wringing out the intestines. Great for our digestion. Beautiful. Hands on either side of that front foot, and then taking the knees together. Draw your shoulders forward, slowly coming down onto the ground. And then as we inhale, big breath in, let the chest lift. As you exhale, let it come slowly down. So we inflate the chest, we rise, we deflate, roll back down. Just waking up the extensor muscles of the back. And one more. Good. Hands remain under the shoulders, tummy back into spine as you come all the way back. Knees wide, extended child pose. Try taking your wrists off the ground. Shoulders roll away from the ears. A little bit of extra pressure through the little fingers. Smooth breath. Pausing, releasing the lower back. Making sure the lower jaw is staying nice and loose. And then as you inhale, coming up onto hands and knees, stretch your hands out like big paws, and then lift the tail, and then tuck the tail. And as you lift and tuck through cat and cow, try to shift your hips from side to side. So you're giving yourself a little kind of wriggle, a little shimmy as we wake up the body. And then you might find that the rest of the spine wants to join in a bit more. Yeah. Next time you come up, tap toes, back to downward facing dog. So we are stretching the calf muscles, shoulders rolling away from ears, give the head a shake. Maybe lift that tail. Imagine you have a tail like a dog and someone's pulling it up behind you. So lift those sitting bones. Remember, it's the spine that we want to have nice and long. It really doesn't matter if your knees are bent. And then looking up, we're going to take the left foot forward, dropping that right knee onto the ground, and starting again just by waking up the groin area and the hamstrings, rocking back and forward. Noticing if there's a little bit more tightness on one side than the other. And then coming forward and coming into this lunge, lifting up through the heart center, shoulders are dropping down, nothing too deep at this stage. Just kind of feeling into those hip flexors and then coming into a twist. So hand on the outside of the knee, other hand on the sacrum. If you want to take it deeper, we just drop down and hook the elbow onto the outside of the knee and take the hands together. And if you're doing this version, you slightly draw the hands towards the heart center, shoulders dropping right down your back, pressing the elbow into knee. Smooth breath. Good, now take the hands back, framing the front foot, tuck those back toes. As you breathe in, slowly come forward. Take the hands above the knees again, crown the head forward, coming back into your tabletop, breathing in. As you exhale, bend the knees and let your belly just sink over your thighs and let your head go. Give it a shake. Roll your shoulders back. Now you're either taking the hands onto the lower back and drawing the elbows together, or interlacing the hands and drawing the hands up towards the ceiling. And if you're doing this version, try to take the whole shoulder girdle up towards the ceiling. And then maybe start to push down through the heels and straighten the legs until you start to feel stretch in the lower back. We want to stretch the hamstrings, but we don't want to compromise the lower back here. So just going into that hamstring stretch, head shaking. A couple of big exhalations here. And then dropping those hands down to the ground. Bend the knees again. So we're going to push the floor away. And as you push the floor away with your heels, slowly, slowly, slowly roll up. So we're stacking the vertebra one on top of the other. And then start to breathe in deeply. And as you breathe in, take the hands right up towards the ceiling. And again, we come back to that full body stretch. So push those feet down into the ground. Push down and out so it feels as if you've got roots rolling deep, deep, deep down into the earth. Stretch those fingertips up as high as you can. Wonderful, full breaths. And then pull up on the next inhalation. And then as you exhale, bend the knees and just go, and flop down. And then push through your feet and inflate the body again. So we get this real sensation of the breath orchestrating the body all the way up and then exhaling, flop down. Just like an ocean wave crashing onto the shore. Draw the hands all the way up. Now this time turn over your right knee and then exhale. Draw the elbow, so your left elbow picks you up. You press down through that left foot, come all the way up. Stretching fingertips upwards and then over to the left, exhaling, down. Right elbow picks you up, you press through that left heel, nice lateral stretch. We'll do that one more time on each side. So dropping down, over the right knee. Left elbow picking you up, just like you are a puppet on strings. And releasing. And elbow picking you up. So it's just a lovely fluid stretch through the body. Arms all the way up and then all the way down. Rolling those shoulders out of your way. And I'm going to get you just to come against your wall for a moment. So take the right foot forward, left foot back. And we'll stretch the hamstrings and also the quads, the front of the thighs. So start off just by dropping into your high lunge. And we want to have the back toes on the ground, but the heel off the ground. So we're pressing away with the heel, and that pressure away is starting to push the knee towards the wall, stretching into those quads. And you want to lift the heart center. So imagine you have a string also from the heart center sliding you up towards the ceiling. And maybe even taking that left hand up towards the ceiling as well to get more of a front of body stretch. Good, and then coming back and dropping the back heel onto the ground, lifting up through those sitting bones. First of all, getting into the calf muscles. And then pulling your front toes back towards you to start getting more into a hamstring stretch through that front leg. Keep your arms pretty straight and keep drawing tummy button in towards spine and a gentle lift through the pelvic floor. So we're not kind of just flopping down here. We're still pretty high and we're using our arms as well. Good. So with that foot that's closest to the wall, come up and then just rolling your left hip. So knee up and out, big circles, mobilizing the hip joint, one direction and then the other. Use the wall to stabilize. Crown of the head is lifting. And then take that onto the other side. So left foot forward, right foot back, bending into that left knee, starting off with the heel up, so you're pressing away to create the big stretch through the front of the thigh. And then lifting fingertips, wonderful elongation through the front line of the body. Shoulders dropping away from ears. Smooth, smooth breath. Good, and then taking the heel down, so press down through the heel, get that delicious stretch coming from the Achilles right up into the calves. Remembering that when we have tight hamstrings, tight calf muscles, tight Achilles, it just literally pulls the pelvis under. So it's really important that we carry on, we just keep going with our lengthening of the leg muscles. Good, and then pulling those left toes back towards you, leaning forward slightly, pushing the wall away there with your arms, and working into the hamstring stretch here, coming into a little bit of a pyramid shape with our legs. Fantastic. Foot closer to the wall you're standing on, and then just big circles. I'm going to turn sideways here. Big circles with that hip joint, crown of the head being lifted, one direction and the other. Beautiful. And while we're against the wall, opening up into these pectoral muscles. So have the hand, one hand, just against the wall, elbows bent. The hand that's against the wall, that foot's forward. And then just a gentle opening of the chest. So gently moving away from your hand to create a stretch that goes right into this lung 1 meridian here. Good, and then taking a loose fist to get into the lymph around the breast area, just taking some patting motions around the breast like so, just softly patting, and then right underneath the armpit where the lymph nodes go as well, just patting there, back again and into the shoulder. Gentle patting, getting that lymph flowing. Good, and then doing that on the other arm as well. A slight bend of the knee, and then as we open the chest, we're looking for the stretch right here on the inside of the shoulder and into those pectoral muscles, and then just gentle pats, getting that lymph flowing right into the armpit, around the top of the breast. Good. Fantastic. Now take yourself against the wall for getting tall against the wall. So we want to make sure that the feet are just hip width apart. We want to have about 1 inch behind our heels. Stretch your toes out. Soften the knees. So I'm going to face you here. Soften your knees. So we don't bend our knees. We just don't have them locked. We just make sure that they're not actually locked backwards. A little bit of softness there. Make sure this area here, the psoas, is also soft. So I want you to feel as if you're pushing your bottom back into the wall, which is quite an uncomfortable sensation for most of us. So we are pushing bum back as if there's somebody on the other side of the wall pulling your tail through the wall. Let your shoulders rest into the wall as well. So that orange we have between our shoulders, you're kind of squashing it into the wall here. And then push your hands away. As you exhale, go push your hands away. So we activate the deep transverse abdominal muscles here. And then just drop the hands. We want to have the palms facing forward and roll one shoulder and then the other shoulder and pull your fingertips down. Now stretch your hands out and press the back of the hands into the wall. Press your forearms into the wall and then see if you can squash the orange between your shoulders a bit more. Push back with your bum, keep the knees slightly soft and then push down and out with your feet. So we activate the outer thigh muscles. Now push the back of your head into the wall as well. And then see if you can slide it up the wall just a little bit. Keep breathing, and we're visualizing the breath going here underneath the armpits into those intercostal muscles between the ribs. We're pushing down and out with our feet, back with the bum, back between the shoulders and back of the arms, and back and up with the head. Keep breathing, down and out with your feet, back with your bum, back with your arms, squash that orange, back and up with the head slightly. One more breath here. Good, and then just soften. So give your head a little roll and then just place the head back on top of your neck and just let your shoulders lift and roll a little bit to soften them. Now stay close to the wall. I'm going to get you to take all of your weight into your right leg, squeeze your thigh muscles above the knee so it feels as if you've got a really good, solid, well-supported thigh bone. Make sure your feet are spread and you feel that rooting down sensation through the feet. Crown of the head is lifted. We want to have the base of the rib cage and the top of the pelvis sitting on top of each other. So if you take your thumb onto your floating ribs and fingertips just onto the hip crest here, we want to make sure that that is pretty much even here. And the pubic bone is also in the same line. Now keep drawing up through the crown of the head and lift a knee. So take your left knee all the way up. We want to see if we can keep the torso completely straight. So we're not letting ourselves round. Draw the knee, draw the knee as close as you can into your chest. Tummy button drawing in and slightly up. And then stretch the right arm up towards the ceiling. Drop the shoulders, but stretch upwards. You might even be able to take your fingertips back onto the wall. So you're pushing down with that right foot, stretching up with that right hand, pulling in with the knee, pelvic floor lifting, tummy button drawing in and up, and then swapping sides. Stretch the body, lift the knee, draw it all the way up. So we're using core muscles, bit of balance. You've always got the wall there for your fingertips to gently touch onto. That's right. And then coming down and just give your legs a little shake there. So hopefully you feel a little bit more stretched out. Come back onto your mat. Crown of the head is lifted, ridge of the back of the head lifted as well. Shoulders nice and relaxed. So we're in our Tadasana. Take all the weight now into your right leg and take your left foot behind you. So we're in this kind of, as if we're about to do inline skating. So stretching out through your tippy toes, working just for a moment on gluteus medius, the top of your bottom. So keep drawing in and up through the base of the rib cage, so tummy button, base of the rib cage dropping. And just pulsing here. So tippy toes come up, 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 up. And the top of your bottom here, we're looking to almost be able to grab it. So it's just kind of, it's hilloking upwards. So we're activating just at the top of the buttocks. A bit different from if you were to bend your knee, flex your toes and push backwards like we do on the ground, then we're getting more into gluteus maximus down the bottom a bit more. So try that as well. Good. If you've got a handy wall next door, you can just put your fingers on the wall. Try that on the other side. So we are just tapping here. Make sure that your standing leg, your foundation's really nice and solid, and you keep feeling that connection with the crown of the head lifting you. That'll help your balance. Your arms out to the side, and then try that gluteus maximus as well. So just kicking back, kind of like a donkey kick, getting more into the bottom of your bottom. Good. Give your legs a shake. We'll add a bit of core work to some balancing, same kind of stance. So taking the weight back into the right leg, toes behind you, opening the arms for the crocodile jaws. Crown of the head is really important. You keep feeling like you're being pulled up through the crown of the head, through the ridge of the head. Soften the knees slightly so you can really engage your thigh muscles here. Breathing in, and then as we exhale, we snap those crocodile jaws, and then we inhale to open the front line of the body. Exhale, tummy button in and up, inhaling to open. So as we exhale, we naturally have a little vacuum through the pelvic floor muscles. We don't really need to even worry about working them. They are working by themselves, but we need to make sure it's an exhale and a feeling like everything's lifting. That's it. Let's do a couple really slow. So slow. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Open. And slow. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Bring your knee in for a moment and then drop. And goodness me, let's just give a little Elvis twist to that standing leg. So we are mobilizing through the hip joint here and just releasing the big rotator muscles around the hip joint. Great, and then doing the same thing on the other side. So spread your foundation foot, taking, hang on a second, I'm just on that side, this side now. So we want to press down, squeeze the muscles just above the knee in particular, open up your crocodile jaws, take a deep breath in, exhaling to snap close, inhaling to open, exhaling to snap close. So your dristi, which is your eye gaze, should be at a point a couple of meters in front of you, and you want to make sure that the little muscles around your eyes are really soft. So your eye gaze is soft. You're not sort of desperately attaching onto anything. What we're doing is we're teaching the brain that even when we are stressing the body, if the body is being stressed, we have the capacity to stay calm. So a smooth, slow breath. and soft eye gaze, which is stimulating us into that parasympathetic nervous system, even when the body is being stressed. And slow for this one. See if we can do one more. Very slow, and then draw the knee in, and then drop it, and give yourself a little Elvis release on that side. Oh, good. All right, so take those legs a little bit wider again. So last night I was doing this self-defense course with a lady who is pretty awesome. She used to be a cage fighter. And she was explaining it, and I thought, gosh, it's so like yoga, really, in our foot stance. So always, she said, always trying to get yourself into a position like so, where you've got really good balance. So one foot in front, which is slightly bent knee, and the back foot turned out to the side. So I thought I'd just show you this. The heel of the hand is the most powerful, that and the elbow, really, really powerful. And she was just explaining how the bit between the top lip and the bottom of your nose is unbelievably painful, and you can break somebody's nose quite easily when you hit them here. So she was explaining, this is just one thing, lots of stuff, but I thought I'd just share this one. If you are ever in a position where you are being attacked, if you're able to keep the person in front of you, ideal. One arm up for defense, don't ever put your arm out because you can get grabbed. But if they do come in towards you, elbow up and just a quick, like that, back and forward, very, very quickly with the heel of the hand into that point, just below the nose and above the lip. So let's just draw elbows back. The other thing is to push your elbow really hard back. And come back and just go, ha, 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 ha. And just have a little go, releasing those lines, ha, ha, ha. And maybe try that on the other side. So obviously you would do it with your dominant hand if you were in a situation you were being attacked and you had to defend yourself, but just try it on the other side as well. So we're just very fast, the retraction is very important. Ha, 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 ha. So that feels quite good, doesn't it? Just giving yourself a little bit of a shake out there, and then come back. We're going to turn both feet out to the left and draw the hip back, and then let the hip roll forward. So we're circling that hip. As we come down, just pause as soon as you start to feel that really lovely stretch into these hamstrings and inner thighs. Drop the hand wherever it lands. Take the top shoulder on top of the bottom shoulder. So we're creating a twist through the torso and through the spine, and then maybe taking the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Make sure that the weight of that top arm is just dropping down through the chest into the bottom arm here. And draw the chin back again. Now press down and up through the back foot, but keep that hip rolling forward. Smooth breath. Take this top hand, give it a big swirl. Very good. And then drawing it back again, crown the head forward. Stretch up and over, get right into that hip area. Wonderful. Take the hands back down towards the hip. Now pull out through those middle fingers, drop the air for a moment, and just turn the head slightly so we get a release through the neck muscles. Good, and then bend into the front knee. Slide those feet forward slightly. So we're coming into side angle pose. Chest is open. So these twists are fantastic on our digestion. Really, really important as we get into 40s, 50s, that we really look after our digestion. Because constipation is the #1 driver for incontinence. So keeping up your fiber, really high fiber diet, lots and lots of fluids, so way more just regular water than you could imagine. And doing twists, yoga twists and breathing is a fantastic way to calm the central nervous system and also just get the digestion stimulated. So open the chest here, coming into this twist through the torso. Smooth, long breaths. And then looking down, press the floor away, slowly come up into archer pose, and then exhaling, coming up and over again. So push the floor away, breathing in archer, and then all the way down. Good, and archer. Beautiful, all the way down. And then coming all the way down into your lunge, taking that top arm, and this time hooking it behind your elbow, so your knee, so elbow to knee, hands together, drawing the shoulder blades together. So another twist through the torso. If you want to, pushing the heel away and creating that stretch through the front line of the leg, knee off the ground. Smooth breath. Draw tummy button to spine slightly, so we really wring out the intestines. Beautiful. And then just wind your way back. Take your hands down onto the ground. Bend the knees as much as you want to. Let's just slide the hips from side to side here. Beautiful. Take the hands down in front of you. If you happen to have a pillow or blocks, you can always place your hands onto something a bit higher. We're starting to lift those sitting bones behind us, pressing the feet down and out. So we're creating a tabletop position, but now legs are wide. Smooth breath here. Now let's start to take those hands forward and imagine you are on the rack. So we're trying to stretch the spine as much as we can. Keep the knees as bent as much as you need to. We don't want to pull so it's uncomfortable through the lower back. But if you keep imagining that tail is being drawn upwards as you stretch your hands outwards, you might get a delicious stretch through the back. And let the head be nice and heavy. We don't need to hold the head here. Smooth breath, stretching the body. Good. We want to push down and out with the feet so the arches are not collapsing inwards. We've got a little bit of buoyancy underneath the arches. And then walk your hands underneath your head. Take the right hand into the middle of the mat. And then taking your left fingers onto the hip, open the chest over to the left. Maybe take fingertips up towards the ceiling and roll your wrist. So we're doing another twist here. Keep breathing. And then slowly coming down and taking your twist onto the other side. So either hands on hips, elbow drawing up, or if it's comfortable on your shoulder, arm up as well. Just make sure you're not kind of clicking into your shoulder all the way up. Beautiful. And then slowly down. Now heel toe your feet towards each other. Drop down into your frog stance, your low squat called Malasana. And then we're going to come up very slowly. So start off with your elbows on the inside of your knees, just pressing them back, fingertips together. And then as you exhale, slowly, slowly come up. Pelvic floor is lifting. And then releasing, release the pelvic floor. Fabulous. So let's come into triangle pose on the other side. Trikonasana. My mat's flying all over the place. Let's just start with our feet about 1 meter apart. Toes both moving over to the right. And then start to wind that hip forward as you pull the tail backwards, drawing yourself into your triangle pose, stretching into those inner thigh muscles. If you need a micro bend through the front knee, please take it. So we don't want to hyperflex there, especially if you're hypertonic. So being very mindful of not hanging in your ligaments. So even though we're getting, this is all about kind of stretching and twisting and releasing, we also don't want to hang. We still stabilize around the joints. Good. And then take that top arm, give it a big swing. Beautiful. And then take the arm across, lengthen down through those little toe edges. And then all the way back, let the head just hang here. Stretching out through the neck. Smooth breath. See if you can open the chest a tiny bit more. So as we do this, we're squeezing those intestines. Good, and then we come down and we release them. The blood flows into the intestines, dropping down into your side angle. So forearm on thigh. Draw the femurs back in towards the pelvis slightly. Draw the chest open again. Stretch fingertips up and over. So we get this delicious stretch from those little toes all the way up to the fingertips. It's called a line of energy. We're kind of feeling fingertips and feet are really alive. Thigh muscles working hard here to support the bones. Bone on top of bone here. And then push the floor away consciously with the heels. So we get into those glutes. Push the feet into the ground, inhaling, and then releasing. And again, pushing the floor away, and then down. And one more. And then down, and rolling yourself forward. So elbow onto the outside of the knee, hooking it here to come into your reverse runner's pose. Maybe taking the knee off the ground, pressing out through the heel. So we're squeezing, twisting, releasing, smooth breath. Very nice. Drop the hands down on either side of that front foot. Slide your back foot. So slide your feet together. Come into downward facing dog. Again, roll those shoulders away from your ears. Big sighs out. Now take your feet together. Make sure your hands are nice and wide. Take your feet together. Shoulders rolling away from your ears. Drop your right heel to the ground and take your left foot out behind you. So deep stretch into those calves. If you find this too much on your shoulders, just come down into child pose for a moment and then come back up when you're ready. So we might take foot into bottom and lift knee and hip up towards the ceiling, looking underneath the armpit. See if that feels good. If not, we stay just working on those calf muscles. That's it. And then taking that foot down, try it on the other side. Shoulders away from ears, remember. Foot behind you, start here. Maybe foot to bottom, maybe knee and hip up towards the ceiling, looking underneath the armpit. Three-legged dog. Smooth breath, and then coming all the way down. Drop your knees to the ground, make them nice and wide, and then come into your extended child pose. So fingertips on the ground, wrists off the ground, forehead down, lower back stretching. Good. And if you're able to, take your hands down towards your feet. So for some, you're going to need to get a pillow or something to place it underneath your head, or maybe between your bottom and your heels. Just let your shoulders be soft. See if you can grab your feet with your fingertips and just release those shoulders, release the neck. Breath into the back of the body. Good. And then sliding yourself back onto hands and knees so we can get a little bit more strength through those core muscles and pelvic floor. So starting off with hips back towards the heels. Hands out in front of you. Now, as we exhale, we come forward. As we exhale, we draw the pelvic floor muscles inwards. So it feels like we're stopping ourselves, farting and weeing at the same time. Inwards, zipping right up towards tummy button. And tummy button feels like it's sliding underneath the rib cage. So it looks like this. Exhaling. Shoulders pausing just over fingertips. Everything sucking in and up. And then inhaling, releasing. So as we inhale, the pelvic floor muscles receive the breath and we soften completely through the buttocks as well. And exhaling forward and inhaling back. And exhaling forward. And inhaling back. And just make sure that those wrists are feeling okay. So if you find you need to, you can always come onto your fists instead of wrists. Good. Next time we come forward, pause here, either staying here with this hold or dropping elbows and coming into a little push-up. Coming back on the inhale, exhaling forward to set, inhaling to drop elbows close to body, pushing up on the exhale and inhaling back. So exhaling forward, inhaling elbows in, exhaling, tummy button drawing in and up under ribs, and dropping back. Let's do one more of those. Exhaling forward, dropping down, exhaling up, and coming all the way down again. So knees a bit closer together. Try taking the top of your head onto the ground. So chin is right tucked in, shoulders rolling back, hands together, interlacing them, and then see if you can draw the hands up towards the ceiling. If that doesn't work, you can just have hands on the back and draw your elbows together. But either way, just give your wrists a little release. So we are tucking the chin right in, hardly any pressure through the neck. Good, and then coming back down again. Wonderful. So we're just going to put it all together, core and bum working. We'll just work out the bum one more time. So come onto your forearms, knees together, lift your left foot behind you, make sure the knee stays at hip height, and just give a couple of pulses with the heel up towards the ceiling, squeezing just into that left glute. So it wakes up and then swap to the other side. Giving a little pulse, waking up the bottom muscles. Very good. And then coming onto your hands and knees again. So pointed dog. Draw the chin inwards. We want to come into that tabletop shape so everything's working. Just tuck my top in so you can see everything's working here. Shoulders away from ears. Draw your knees together. Stick your right foot up behind you to start off with. So we've got the glute activated. Stick your left hand out in front of you, thumb up, little finger down, shoulder retracting into the shoulder girdle, chin drawing back, giving yourself that kitten neck. Wonderful. Maybe bending knee and elbow and giving yourself a little kick upwards to the ceiling, lengthening out again, and then drawing knee and elbow right in, rounding the lower back, and down onto the ground. Oh, good. You're going to wake up, stretching out through the other side, squeezing glutes, stretching out through thumb, little fingers down. Make sure that your elbow isn't locking. So slight soft bend through the elbow. And see if you can bend your heel up towards the ceiling. Give a couple of pulses here. Tummy button stays, pulling back towards your spine. Stretch out and then drop. And then give your hips a lovely release. So big circles. Nice big circles here. One direction and then the other. And then try and make it a bit bigger. So you're swishing like seaweed in the current, swishing right around. Very good. Come back. You might need to come onto your fists if wrists are getting grouchy. Drop hips to one side. That's the way. And then up and over to the other side. Very good. Beautiful. And coming onto your backs. So I want you to grab a blanket, a folded up blanket, and your strap. If you haven't got a strap or a scarf, don't worry, we can do without it. But if you have got one, that's wonderful. So just coming onto your back now. Taking a moment to draw your knees in towards your chest and then toes together and knees out to the side. So coming into that frog pose. Take your hands onto your shins or maybe your ankles and then press outwards with your forearms to stretch those inner thigh muscles and flatten the lower back into the ground. If you find your head is tilting back, just grab your blanket or another pillow and place it underneath your head. Smooth breath. Roll those ankles. Beautiful. And then take your strap and place your strap around both feet and slide your feet upwards. So starting off with legs pretty straight, pelvis pushing down into the ground. So stretch the back of your legs. Smooth breath. And let those shoulders come right away from the ears. Let your elbows be soft. So we're not kind of holding ourselves here. We're just releasing downwards. So let your breath come back to that smooth, rhythmic, kind of like ocean waves just crashing onto the shore. That kind of soft sound, that soft Darth Vader sound. Breath swishing in and out. Now slide those feet wide, nice and wide on your strap. So as wide as they can comfortably go. And you just hold on to the ends of your scarf, your strap. Let your elbows be nice and heavy. Arms are just heavy here. We're getting that wonderful stretch through the inner thigh muscles and flattening out the lower back. Now see if you can breathe into the whole pelvic bowl. So I know that sounds weird, but we're looking to release now the bum muscles and the lower belly, into the hips, into the pelvic floor. And then sliding feet a bit closer to come into baby pose. Knees come down towards the armpits. You might need to slide your hands up a bit more on your strap. Like so. Shoulders away from ears. Good. Now take your right foot into the strap. Let your left foot out. Now take that right foot, place it onto the top of your left knee. So bend the left knee. And we want to slightly draw the left knee in towards us. Make sure your left toes are active and gently draw the right knee out to the side. So we're getting a deep stretch into the hip rotator muscles and into the glutes here. That figure four stretch. For so many of us, this is like, oh my goodness, but it's so good. So good. And those big hip muscles can take a stretch, just like the calf muscles. They can take a nice, we don't want a tweaky stretch, we want a nice, oh yeah, that feels good stretch. That's the way. And then slowly tilt yourself over to the side. So drop your foot down to the side and look over your opposite shoulder. So we come into a twist here. If that feels too much on your back, just slide your feet further away from you so it's not as intense. Good. And then drawing those feet back, swap the strap over to the left foot, place the left ankle on top of your right knee. Gently draw that left knee out to the side as you push the right knee in, stretching right here, glutes, thighs, smooth breath. Good. Flex those toes, both feet flexed. And then slowly, slowly dropping over into a twist. There we go. Looking out over the opposite arm, so we get the twist right up here, but also twisting into those intestines as well. And see if you can let the breath come down into your belly. So we definitely get the breath here into the lungs. So see if you can really mobilize the breath across the front of the body. That's the way. Slowly coming back, just release your belt here, taking your rolled up blanket, place it underneath your bottom for a moment. So we just get that tiny tilt through the lower back, a little stretch here, and draw one knee in, lengthen the other leg out. Release those psoas muscles. Do the same thing on the other side, stretch the body out. Good. And then slide your rolled up blanket underneath your sort of bra strap area. So just across the, just across the bra strap area, and let your head drop down again, arms out to the side. So we're just spreading those ribs. See if you can take your feet together and your knees out to the side. So it's a full opening of the front line of the body. And just taking some full, expansive morning breaths here. Imagining that you are filling balloons as you breathe smoothly and deeply. If you need to give your jaw another little wriggle, please do so. Letting the whole of the back of the body just melt around your blanket, melt into the ground. Smooth, calm breath. Beautiful. Just slide that blanket out from underneath you and pull your knees in. So you're in a little ball here, and just let the back settle into the ground and rock from side to side. Let the mind start to drop away. So consciously, with eyes closed, just letting the mind feel like it's sinking in your skull. Brain is sinking your skull, mind is quietening. And then crossing your ankles, slide your hands just underneath your knees, tuck yourself into a little ball, and rock and roll up and down your spine. And if you turn your bottom from one side to the other, you can just massage right across the spine, right through the whole of your back, getting the momentum to come all the way up. Very good. All the way up to a comfortable seated position. So I'm just going to come forward a little bit. I always take a blanket or a pillow underneath the sitting bones so that the hips can drop forward a little bit and we can get that slight anterior tilt through the pelvis. So come and give yourself a lateral stretch side to side. Give your head a roll and your shoulders a roll, one direction and then the other. And then come into a comfortable seated position where we have the head perfectly positioned on top of your neck. The shoulders are soft. Close the eyes just for this next minute and feel the air against your exposed skin. Feel the cool inhalation coming through the nostrils and the warmth of the exhalation. Visualize your skeleton, so visualize the bones attaching to bones, the spine and the curves of the spine stacking to keep your body erect. But allow all the muscles that are not needed right now to keep you sitting upright. Let them all be relaxed. So consciously relax the muscles around your eyes and your cheeks and the big jaw muscles. Feel the arms are nice and relaxed. And take your focus into your hands. See if you can feel just underneath the skin surface of your hands, so the palms of the hands and the back of the hands, and into your knuckles and into your fingertips. See if you can tap into the vibration, the prana, the life force in your hands, a slight warmth and buzzy feeling. And then spread that awareness from your hands through the whole of your body. Just underneath the skin surface. Feeling into the whole of your body. And sliding your fingertips out off your knees and stretching them out, creating length from the shoulders to your fingertips. Turn the palms to face the ceiling. And then as you breathe in, feel as if you're gathering energy and drawing it all the way up and around your body. Looking upwards, open the eyes, and then just go. And again, a big vibrant breath in, a sighing breath out. And the last one, this time releasing on an Om, hands together and taking it down through the heart center. Just acknowledging yourself for coming and practicing today, moving into your stillness. Thank you so much. The love and light in me bows to the love and the light in you. Namaste.